I have been fishing for probably 25 minutes, and here we go. And this was the magic. Chrome trigger spoon, 55 feet. Nice.
Howdy folks, Kel Kellogg here. That was a very, very, very impressive king salmon. Fella named Sean caught that fish. We never actually see Sean. We saw Sean's hand and we saw Sean's big Berryessa king salmon. I've looked him up on Facebook. He is an avid fisherman, and I just want to give him the thumbs up, man. That may be the landlocked king of a lifetime. What a beautiful fish. He did everything right, and I'll bet that fish put up one heck of a fight out there just trolling around, you know, on the downrigger with a naked spoon on the line. So this kind of brings us to the subject of spoons, and I've been wanting to talk in depth about spoons in general and my lines of spoons specifically. So let's jump into it. Spoons. They're one of the oldest trout and salmon lures in existence. You know, when you really get down to where the rubber meets the road, a spoon is a piece of metal with a hook on the back. You pull it through the water, whether you're casting it or trolling it. In our case, we're trolling it most of the time. It gives the predatory fish the impression of a bait fish, and if they're hot, if they're fired up, if they're feeding like Sean's salmon was, they take a swipe at it, and the next thing you know, they're hooked, they're in the net, they're going home to the smoker. Everybody except the big fish is happy. Okay, now that's the simplest explanation of a spoon, but they're more complicated than that, and they're one of the most common lures in trout and salmon anglers' tackle boxes, but they're also one of the most misunderstood, and they're not used to their best advantage a lot of times. And before I get into talking about the actual spoons and my spoons, I want to tell you a quick story that's going to kind of illustrate the main point of this video and the main point of my tackle company. Okay, for the folks out there that don't know, I owned a fishing magazine for a very long time. Here's how magazines work. The money for a magazine doesn't come from subscriptions, it comes from advertising. As a result, we had a staff of advertising salesmen. Those guys had a very stressful job. They had to go out, they had to find clients, convince them to advertise, get them to sign a contract, and then we all got paid. But I felt a lot of the time my advertising salesmen would lose touch with what the real objective of their job was. Their job was to get clients to have them, you know, pay us for advertising space. But the real objective of what they were selling was to enable the client to sell more of whatever it was the client was offering, be it fishing boats or fishing lures or whatever that was. And all too often, you know, as I said, it's a stressful job. The salesman would feel like their job was done once they'd made the sale, but their real job was to really make sure that the advertising was effective for the consumer. Okay. This applies to lure companies. All too often, there's lure companies out there that are just looking to sell a lure. They're looking to put something in a package that appeals to anglers, and they really don't care on the backside if that angler catches fish or not. Okay. One of the things that sets FHS's tackle apart is I have designed hands-on every single lure, dodger, fishing rod that we offer. I have designed a line of tackle for myself because I like to get out on the water and catch trout. I like to get out on the water and catch salmon. And I've integrated the properties that my, you know, too many decades to remember. I don't want to remember that many decades because I'm old. But all that knowledge has gone into putting the qualities into those lures, rods, and things that really make a difference out on the water. And then and only then do I offer those tools to our customers, because we are dedicated to helping them catch more and bigger fish. And that's not just a tagline, that's our philosophy. With some rare instances, I don't really believe in presenting a certain lure for quote unquote big fish. I believe that if you catch as many fish as possible, you're going to catch more big fish. So my tackle enables you to catch more and bigger fish. And my tackle comes with instruction. It comes with a systematic approach to catching fish. It's all here on YouTube, and some guys even go the extra mile and they book a guided trip with me to learn one-on-one, to ask me questions one-on-one, get my reaction, see what I think. And I never say I'm an expert. I have a ton of experience on the water, and I fish with a lot of the best trout and salmon trollers on the West Coast, and I am a sponge for fishing information. So let's get into my spoons. Let's get into why they work and how I designed them. The first thing, before I get into colors and hooks and stuff like that, speed is the center stone of my spoon assortment. Let me give you a quick example here. These are Trigger Spoon Juniors. They're designed to troll between about 1.5, got loose stuff in there. These are actually the boxes I have out on the guidebook, so I got all kinds of stuff thrown in there. But the speed range on these lures is 1.5 to 2.2. They're a slow trolling spoon. Contrast that with, well, this guy right here. That was the Trigger Spoon Junior. This is the full-size Trigger Spoon. This is the same size and shape spoon that Sean caught that salmon on. The speed range on these runs from about really 2.4 all the way up to 3. A lot of times I target the speed on these at about 2.7, 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, kind of my target speed, and I vary it. Target speed with the Junior is usually 1.8, and then I kind of vary the speed with turns and, you know, the wind hitting the boat and things like that. Sometimes they want them slower at the lower end of those speed ranges. Sometimes they want them at the upper end of that speed range. But, you know, the Junior, 1.5-ish to 2.2. This one here, 2.4, 2.5, all the way up to 3 miles an hour. And then we have the Speed Spoon, which is in one of these boxes somewhere. Okay, I'm back. I got 5 boxes of spoons here, guys. I'm loaded for bear. But that brings us to our fast trolling spoon, the Speed Spoon, right there. These start working at about 2.6, and you could take them all the way up to 4 miles an hour. So there you have it. My target speed with these is, you know, 2.8 to 3.2 usually. So there you have 3 distinct speed ranges. You have slow, the Trigger Spoon Junior. You have the medium, the basic Trigger Spoon. That's our you know, our central spoon. That's our #1 spoon. That's our workhorse spoon. And then you have the fast spoon, which is the Speed Spoon. Speed is all based on what you anticipate the temperament of the fish to be, and on how much water you intend to cover. If you're out at a new lake and you want to, you know, troll through a bunch of different areas to find fish, to figure out the depths, kind of figure out the lay of the land, you probably want to rig up with Speed Spoons or Trigger Spoon Juniors. Those allow you to troll at a pretty fast clip. If you encounter fish that are ready to go, you're going to get hit, but it also gives you an opportunity to kind of scope out the scene, figure out where fish are holding. Are they holding on structure? Are they holding in open water? So on and so forth. So speed is central to my selection of spoons. And I'll share one other spoon with you here real quick. This is a very unique spoon. Comes in several different colors. This is the Pinhead spoon. We sell the least of all the spoons we sell the least. These are the slowest selling spoon, I guess you'd say. It's called the Pinhead. It's got a very narrow profile because sometimes when the fish are feeding on pond smelt, both trout and salmon, will show a preference for very thin bait fish. This spoon actually was born as a jigging spoon in Sweden. I got my hands on a few, tried running them. What I found out was I had a spoon that would perform at low speeds down around, you know, 1.4 to 1.5, but you could take it all the way up to 3+ miles an hour. A very compact spoon that you can run at virtually any speed. There is a place for a spoon like that in your tackle box, and I don't think that a small spoon like that won't catch large fish. I've caught some very large kings out at Folsom on this. I've caught some very large trout on this spoon elsewhere. Sometimes a subtler, smaller package like that is better if the fish are feeding on small bait. And that's how I came to catch a very nice salmon out at Folsom not too long ago. Caught a fish, coughed up some really small bait. I rigged up a rod with a white glow pinhead spoon, and just a little while later we caught a really nice king on that spoon. They were down there feeding on small bait. Match the hatch, catch the fish. At least that's the objective. Now let's talk about some of the qualities that you see in my spoons. But before we do that, let's kind of make a global statement about spoon companies. You don't see a lot of spoon companies that have a strategic approach to their spoon lines like I just explained. Speedy Shiners are a great example. That is a wonderful spoon for speed trolling, but there's nothing else there really for slow trolling. There are slow trolling spoons like needlefish. You know, they troll best relatively slowly, but there's not a lot in that line for guys that want to troll fast. Okay, because I designed my line of spoons strategically, I've come up with spoons that, you know, check all three of those boxes: slow, medium, and fast. Typically with slow, medium, and fast, fast, a larger spoon; medium, a smaller spoon; slow, smaller still. The theory being that as you slow down in speed, you're doing that because the fish are less willing to chase, so it's better to present them with a smaller package. So that's just the driving philosophy behind our spoon lines. Now I want to talk a little bit about spoon finishes. So our spoons, let me find, where are the ones I wanted to talk about? That's not them. Oh, there they are. I have spoons everywhere, guys. So here are some metallic colored, metallic finish trigger spoons. This is the same spoon that Sean caught that big old salmon on, except I have mine rigged up with a treble hook. But Death Prism silver, okay? Silver, not chrome. That's very important. Over the years, I have come to realize that spoons in real metal colors, your metallic spoons in real metal colors, real silver, in the case of this chartreuse and gold version, real 24 karat gold, and in the case of the copper spoons, real genuine copper coated with clear coat, outperform imitation metals. For whatever reason, a 24 karat finished spoon will almost always outfish a polished brass spoon. A real silver spoon, silver plate spoon, will almost always outfish a chrome spoon. I don't know why that is. It has something to do with the luster and the look of real metal. So I spend a little bit extra on the spoons to get real 24 karat gold plate on those spoons, real silver plate, real pure copper plate on the outside of those spoons. The blanks on all these spoons are brass, but I pay that extra, few cents. I'm willing to invest that because I know on the consumer end, you guys are going to catch more fish on spoons that have integrated real metal into them. Now, the other thing I do and I play with all the time is coming up with new and innovative spoon finishes, whether they're the UV colors like that, the bait fish patterns, the fire tiger patterns, or these just came out, the new 50-50 patterns, one side paint, the other side metal, dark over light, dark over light. That's what fish expect to see when they look at a bait fish. So a lot of times that dark over light pattern, dark over light, it really will trigger that strike. It's just something they expect to see, and it's something that can really help you close the deal. Another thing I really like to integrate into my spoons is an eye, a prismatic eye. It's one of the things they expect to see when they go after a bait fish. It's one of those identifying characteristics that really gives the impression of a bait fish is the eye. All bait fish have eyes. Most of them have a really large eye. So when the trout or the salmon goes after a spoon, that's something they're expecting to see. They're expecting to see that dark overlight coloration. They're expecting to see that eye. It's all about giving the fish the impression of something they want to eat. A lot of times in the fly fishing world, the best fly isn't an exact match. The best fly is an impressionistic fly that checks a lot of those boxes, that gives the fish an impression of something that they want to eat. And that's kind of my philosophy, you know, behind my lines of spoons. Now let's talk a little bit about spoon colors or spoon hardware, and then we'll talk a little bit about various colors and finishes and what they mean. So on all our spoons now, we are running with J hooks. Now I still have trebles on some of my spoons because I've had those for a while. We used to be the treble hook guys, and we sold lures with very high quality mustad treble hooks. But through research and with talking with some experts, including Buzz Ramsey, used to be the lure designer for Yakima Bait, and asking the question, Buzz, what's better, a J hook or a treble? Okay, and the answer almost always is you will hook more fish on a treble, but you lose more fish on a treble too. You will land more of the fish you hook with a quality J hook, and that's why we arm all of our spoons with super high quality VMC hooks made in France. They're not made, you know, in Asia. They're made in France, super high quality steel. They're a hook that hooks and holds. If you're out on the water and you catch a big old salmon like that one that Sean hooked into, if you lose that fish, it's not going to be because of a failure in the hook or a failure in my split ring. You can get split rings made out of brass. You can get them made out of copper, zinc, all kinds of metals. I spend that little bit extra to arm these spoons with genuine stainless steel rings. They are exceptionally strong. They're corrosion resistant. You pair that with the VMC J hook, and I'm trying to set everyone, including myself, up for success when you do hook into that big fish. Now, how many spoon colors, and we'll kind of close on this idea, how many spoon colors do you actually need? You certainly don't need all the colors of spoons that I offer in my lineup. You need a set of spoons. I think you need some metallics, and I think you need some painted versions. But be aware that sometimes the salmon, the trout, can be very, very fickle on what they're looking to feed on. Let me show you a quick example. This blew me away. Let me see. I've been doing this forever, and this blew me away. Right here. Clown trigger spoon. For several weeks, this was our best offering out at Folsom Lake. Folsom's no pushover. We were targeting kings. We were catching trout. This was our #1 spoon. We caught a 10+ pound salmon on it, a 7-pound salmon on it, a bunch of other nice salmon and rainbows on that clown spoon. Now, I got plenty of clown spoons in my tackle box now, but one day I was out there and I only had one. Oh man, what am I gonna do? I dug this guy out. Pretty similar. It's also a clown pattern, but it's a little bit different. This one outperformed this one by about 5 to 1, trolling these spoons at 2.7 miles an hour down anywhere from about 75 to 90 feet deep. Down where the light level's low, it should not make a difference, but overwhelmingly, the fish could tell the difference, and they chose that spoon right there. Color matters, guys. Patterns matter. You need to arm yourself with an array of different finished spoons, spoons that you feel very, very confident in. Now, myself, I very seldom fish Fire Tiger. Why not? I'm not super confident in Fire Tiger, but they're offered in my lineup because I know there are guys out there that are very, very confident in Fire Tiger, and they catch a lot of fish on them. So you need an array of colors, an array of finishes, but more than anything, you need your array to be made up of colors and finishes that you have supreme confidence in. But one thing you absolutely have to have. You have to have the silver, all silver. You have to have the all copper. You have to have the all gold. Those are kind of the central. They aren't sexy. They aren't pretty like that. They're fish catchers. What did Sean use at Berryessa? Nothing fancy. He put on a silver plate Death Prism trigger spoon. He dropped it down to 55 feet, probably had it right over the heads of those feeding salmon, and good things happen. So the metallics are central, and then by all means add in some UV finishes that you feel confident in. Some days UV means a ton, other days it doesn't mean anything. Some days I do very, very well on all white spoons, but not all the time. But it's important to have some spoons to mix in, to say to yourself, I'm doing okay on this clown pattern. Would I be doing even better with an all white spoon? You need to be able to experiment to really refine the bite. But I just wanted to share some of my thoughts on spoons, some of my thoughts on what we offer to the customer. And remember, all my tackle, all my spoons, plastics, rods, all that stuff, it comes with a ton of instruction. Here on the channel, we have 2,000 plus mostly trout trolling videos up. If you are interested in any aspect of trout trolling, from the absolute basics, how to rig up your rod, to the absolute advanced stuff, how to stack lines on a downrigger, how to approach, difficult situations like cold, muddy water, all that stuff is here on the channel and more. I encourage you, if you like this kind of content, if you really want to take your trout and salmon trolling to the highest possible level, get on the channel, search around, take in the information. What makes sense to you, take it to heart. If it doesn't make sense to you or it doesn't bolster your confidence, don't integrate it into your repertoire. But I got all that stuff out there. It's all stuff that I believe that I've seen to be true out on the water. And if you want to take it one step further, got a guide calendar up there. You could jump on the boat with me. We could talk fishing all day long. We could talk about all those little nuances, things that can really make the difference. Lastly, one thing I forgot to mention, you should always absolutely positively be running your spoons on a fluorocarbon leader, and don't go too light. Don't go crazy heavy, but don't go too light. The goal is to catch a really big fish, so set yourself up for success. 8-pound minimum, 10-pound is basic, 12-pound if you think you're going to get into some really big fish. I've been running 12-pound fluoro leaders out at Folsom because we've been getting into some big fish. On my last trip, we landed like a 9-pound squawfish on a clown pattern trigger spoon. Not what we were looking for, but still a huge fish. Not a fish that you want to, hook on 4 or 6-pound tests. So always use a fluoro, use a realistic weight of line, realistic breaking strength. That's about it for now, guys. I have rambled on and on and on, but I just kind of wanted to set the record straight on spoons. There's more than just having one generic spoon in your tackle box. There's more to spoon trolling than just having a selection of speedy shiners and dragging them around behind a boat. Will they catch fish? Absolutely. They are a phenomenal lure, but they only check one of the boxes. It's a high-speed trolling spoon. If the fish wants something at a medium speed, fish wants something at a slow speed, and all you got is speedy shiners, you're out of luck. If all you got is my speed spoons, you're not going to troll those at 1.8 for fish that are a little bit finicky and be successful. Speed comes first. Think presentation at all times. Think presentation. Think about what the fish are feeding on, make your lure choices accordingly, and then, throw in little variations in size, in color, in speed, and really dial that bite in, because the more fish you catch, the more bigger fish you're going to catch. And what's our goal? We want to help you catch more and bigger fish. I know this is a lot, guys. Give you a lot to think about. I will catch you next time right here on YouTube. If you're looking for spoons or anything else, you know where to go. FHSfishing.com. I'll catch you next time on YouTube, guys, and we will spend more time talking about trout and salmon fishing strategy. I'm Kel Kellogg.